The ES was right there at Lexus's beginning in 1989, and here, decades later, in its 8th generation, it is completely revamped and totally different. Before we get into this preview, do us a favor, hit those like and subscribe buttons below to get all of our latest content. As far as styling goes, this new ES retains some of Lexus's spindle grille here in this angle, but I think it's handled much better and with more grace. It's not completely taken up with this oversized grille, and with this all-electric version, this is completely blocked off for a more modern look. Now with the hybrid, there will be a thin little grille here for added cooling. Compared to the previous generation ES, this one is 6.5 inches longer, with 3 inches of that added to the wheelbase between the front and rear axles, which should increase interior space for rear passengers. Also new for this ES is this swooping rear roofline, which is sort of like a fastback hatchback and adds a lot more sporty character. I'm typically not a fan of these hockey stick-like flourishes on the sides of cars, but on the ES it seems to work really well, mostly because it joins up with this character line here, which sort of ties it all together with the rear. Naturally, this ES isn't just a pretty face. It gets a stiffer chassis and, for the first time, a multi-link rear suspension. And both of those are aimed at improving handling as well as comfort. The ES will be available in 3 different models, starting with the ES350h Hybrid. It gets a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder that's good for 243 horsepower. That should get it to 60 miles an hour in 7.2 seconds when you have all-wheel drive. Next up is the ES350e, which is the all-electric version. That's front-wheel drive and puts out 220 horsepower and should get it to 60 in 7.7 seconds. In that configuration, it should return 300 miles on a single charge. And it comes with the NACS port, which is capable of DC fast charging, and that should get you from 10% to 80% in only 30 minutes. You also get a level 1 and level 2 AC charger that's good for up to 11 kilowatts. Next up is the ES500e all-electric with all-wheel drive. That increases power output to 338 horsepower and should get it 60 miles an hour in only 5.4 seconds. That'll drop range just a little, but it should still return 250 miles of range. Not surprisingly, the interior of this new ES is appropriately luxurious and modern. I'm particularly a fan of this layered bamboo trim that they installed. It adds a lot of warmth that I typically associate with Volvos, but also just feels good to the touch. Standard features include this 12.3-inch instrument panel, 14-inch touchscreen, and wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. You also get these twin wireless chargers, although it seems to be eating up a little more space than is necessary. But still nice to have them. We also have this long sliding cover with 2 moderately sized cup holders and this double-sided armrest that, unlike the other Toyotas, does not rattle. This ES also comes with the latest version of Lexus's infotainment system. It's going to feature a home button, which makes it much easier to just immediately find what you need. We do have some shortcut buttons here to adjust the temperature, which is nice. So that means maybe you won't be as distracted as you would be when everything is just anchored at the bottom of the screen. As a Lexus, you also get the ability to add one of the best audio systems in the industry by Mark Levinson. You also get these paddles on the steering wheel, which adjust brake regeneration. Comfort is obviously paramount with any Lexus, and these seats do the job just fine. They hold me perfectly in place, and they're very supportive. You get heating and ventilation and massage. And here in the back seats, I have a wealth of legroom. I mean, just look at this. It's almost limo-like. And I have a little more headroom than I need as well. I'm 5'10", so I'm pretty sure even a 6-footer will be comfortable back here. As with most luxury vehicles, the materials back here are just as nice as they are up front. And I have a pretty good view all the way around that makes it feel airier and more spacious than it might actually be. And here in the center, we have a fold-down armrest with a fairly deep center armrest bin. Now, there is a first, and unfortunately it's not shown here, but we will have something that's more associated with the larger Lexus LS, and that's an executive package for this rear seat. It adds reclining rear seats with massage, ventilation, and in this passenger side, an ottoman that folds out and also pushes the front seat forward. So you really could have that limousine experience in an ES. When you're back here, you can also keep your devices charged with 2 USB-C ports, and you also have some additional rear vents. Now, if you're looking for a little additional privacy, you have these manual sunshades here. Now, we don't have cargo specs just yet, but looking at the trunk, it's pretty big. You can easily get some large roller bags back here and even have them on their sides. And underneath the floor, you have just a little bit of storage here, which will be helpful if you're carrying your charge cords. Overall, I think this new ES is a triumph for Lexus. It comes at the right time, offering both hybrid and fully electric models. But what do you think? Do you think you'd go for an all-electric Lexus sedan? Let us know in the comments below. We don't have pricing just yet, but we should have them closer to the on-sale date, which is the beginning of 2026. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below to get all of our latest content.